Good day, everyone. It looks like most of you have joined. I'm sure we'll have some more people joining in the first 5 or 10 minutes. I know we've got people joining from across the globe, the US, and I think Brazil, and I think maybe even Namibia. So good day. I hope you had a good day, and you are going to have a good day if it's still morning. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first webinar in a series of many. We are planning to do quite a number of system webinars, and it will always be, you can make a knot in your ear, it will always be on a Wednesday afternoon, 3 o'clock South African time. So the dates were communicated in the newsletter, the dates for September. If you want to grab a pen and make notes, it will be the 2nd, the 9th, the 16th, and the 30th of September. We miss a week in September because of a public holiday in South Africa. And the focus in September will mostly be on utilizing the various value adds and system functionalities in Shadowmatch. Then we are planning to continue in October. In October, we will focus on skills grid, the career report, and the study report. So we plan on showcasing and training you on all the functionalities and the value adds that you can use as a consultant and as a client in your business. So the dates are also communicated or displayed on the Shadowmatch website, ladies and gentlemen. So if you go to the normal Shadowmatch URL, shadowmatch.co.za, you will notice top right, there's the events tab. And under the events tab, we load all the dates for upcoming webinars. Currently, it's only the one for today. And by tomorrow, you will see all the dates for September. And then shortly, probably during the course of the week or early next week, we will update the dates for October. It will always have the topic as well as the URL where you can book your seat. So just some administrative arrangements. You will notice that you are currently on forced mute. That's really just to give the presenter the opportunity to present without any interruptions. I will allow you to unmute yourself towards the end. If you do have questions in the meantime, just post your question in the chat. I'll answer or I'll collate the questions and I will present the questions to the presenter at the end of the webinar. And ladies and gentlemen, we are recording the webinar, so you don't have to profusely take notes. So you can always then, once you get the recording, sit with the system and go through it in your own time because it's going to be quite a lot of information. Now, without further ado, let me hand over to Suzanne. Suzanne Conradi, most of you know her. Suzanne is the General Manager at Shadowmatch. Suzanne still looks after a couple of clients, but she mostly takes ownership of management of the office, as well as the management and support of all our coaches and consultants. Suzanne is the best person to do this, walk through the system, ladies and gentlemen. She works with it every day. And now sometimes I even phone Suzanne and say, Suzanne, I think I missed a button somewhere. Can you please help me? So Suzanne, we're looking forward to it and over to in your competent hands. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to have you with us today. Thank you so much for the introduction, Lizette. So today we will be focusing on 3 things. Firstly, how to optimally create your organogram structure on the system. Thereafter, we'll be looking at a few great new system enhancements. And lastly, practical tips on how to navigate the system. So I will be working on the live system, but with a fictitious company with fictitious data. So without any further ado, let's jump in and let's start with the structure of your organogram on the system. Now, very important with this, it should work for you. The system allows you to create infinite levels of structure, but if you log in as system administrator, you should be happy on how it looks, what you called it, and how it is created. I'm going to start sharing my screen with you. Let me just click here. Great. Okay. On the system, as I said, you can create infinite structure levels, but let's look at an example. So I'm currently logged in as the system administrator for company ABC. You see what they chose to do is they created the main business areas within their company as the first structure level. So they have everything from administration all the way through to sales and marketing. They then went into each business area and created sub-entities for each of the specific roles. So let's go into finance, for instance. Here we now see these are the specific roles they have in the finance department. And in each of the roles, we see the number of individuals in that specific file. But if their organogram is more intricate, that they need more levels in their structuring levels, they can create another level within this. For instance, let's look at controllers. In the file controllers, we see there's this maroon plus icon to the left. This indicates that there's something within this. This isn't the final level. So if we open up controllers, we find that they now have credit controllers and debit controllers within this subfile. Now you catch my drift. This can go on for a while and they create infinitely within each structure, it should work for them. How do you actually practically do this? Let's go back to our main screen. So you'll see at the top of my main screen, I have this button here called Create Subentity. If I click on this button, I'm going to add another file on this level. So currently I have my 7 main structures of my main business areas. If we need to add an 8th one to this list, we click on Create Subentity, it will be added here. If I need to create something within finance, I go into the file of finance. And now once again, I have this button here. If I click on Create Subentity here, it's going to add another role within finance. And obviously the same will happen within controllers. If I create a sub-entity here, we would add a 3rd role to the list. Let's quickly do that and see what happens. I click on Create Sub-Entity, and now let's just, for the purpose of the demonstration, call it our 3rd controller role. Fantastic. We don't need to go into the detail in today's session about the things you're seeing on the screen now. I just want to show you, if I click on Save, what happened to my structure. You see now on the same level, I now have 3 roles. Within the sub file, I have my 3 different controller roles. As we said, if the organogram even needed a further structure, we can go into our final level we currently have. Let's say credit controllers. On this screen, I can now either view the individuals currently in my credit controller role, or if I click back and say, you know what, I actually need another level, I still have that option of creating a sub-entity. Now we've been working on our main screen here. This same organogram is also reflected in our left menu under the organogram function. If I open up this file, you'll see now I see my structure, the different levels, and if I quickly want to navigate to finance, for instance, I click on finance, and now it opens up. You see we jumped to finance, and within my organogram structure, I now have my various roles. Let's go to finance managers, and there we go. We jump to that file, and it reflects the organogram real time as we navigate. Let's go back to our home screen. If we need to edit anything at any stage, you'll see there's an edit button to the right here. So let's say we no longer call customer support. I click on edit. It opens up the edit screen for this file. Let's say we change it to customer services. There we go. I scroll down, click save, and now my file has been updated. Okay, the last thing on the organogram I just want to show you is the breadcrumb. Now this is a very nice function in the system. It allows me to, if you followed my screen, you would have seen the breadcrumb updated as I navigated through the system. At this stage, I'm looking at my main company level. If I click on the arrows, here again, I have my first level of structures. Okay, great, let's go to finance. Do you see my breadcrumb is making a next level? I click on the arrows again. Ah, great, let's go to controllers. We navigate. Oh, we have a next level. Let's go to debit controllers. So at any stage, I can click using my breadcrumb to navigate quickly back to a file. I want to go back to the main screen, and I'm back at company ABC. Okay, that's the organogram structure in a nutshell. As we said at the start, please remember to set this up as it works for you. There are no rules. We're not going to police and say, why did you put finance within this file? If it has a logical flow for you to accurately reflect your organization's unique layout, perfect. Edit at any stage. Okay, This then brings us to our next function, which is then the new system enhancement. So you'll see on my left menu, we now have an option here called stats. I can either access this on this main menu or using my top menu, under administrative, I have a stats icon. This takes me to the exact same function. What is the stats function? Let's take a look. The stats function is a live tracking of the exact usage of the different reports on the system. Everything from my worksheet, my PDPs, my relationship reports, I can track live to see exactly who completed it and in which file. We can do this at any level of the entity as well. At this stage, I'm looking at the entire entity and seeing what the usage was. If I want to navigate to, let's say, customer service, I use my breadcrumb and now I see the stats for my customer service file specifically. Let's go back to our main screen. If I want to see in a specific month, let's close that side menu. Let's say for July, who were the individuals that completed the worksheet within the company? I simply click on the month, and now the details reflect here at the bottom. So I can exactly see it was Bill and Brenda and Don in each of the specific entities they completed the file. You can see Brenda completed it within the company in customer service. Once again, I can use this to navigate and go and see the other details for that specific entity. Great, now I'm seeing the stats for customer service. Who completed it with Brenda? Eric. We have the details for that. You'll also see there's a calendar option here in the right corner, where you can then choose any year you want the stats to see. So if I click on this button, you see now I can go and see 2019, 2018, whenever your company's history started on the system. You also have an option to export the stats data. So if you want to download a consolidated spreadsheet with everything in one place, you can use the option here on the right. Now, as a standard, we have the two options to say the specific year you're working in or the entire history of the company. So either 2020 or all. Let's see what happens. If I click on the 2020 option, my screen opens with my specific details I can choose. Now look how the system intuitively reads where you are working in the system. It's showing me I'm currently in company ABC within customer support. So if I download the export at this stage, it's only going to be the information for this specific file. If I wanted the entire export for company ABC, we navigate back and click Stats Export on that file. Once we're on the screen, you see you also have the option to customize your time frame. If you don't want the entire year, you can, for instance, click on month and say, you know what, I actually just want the stats for August. That's what I want in that specific spreadsheet, and you choose. At the bottom, you can see which are the files that are going to be included in this spreadsheet. If I select the option of email, I, as system administrator, receive this notification, reminding me about the privacy regulations around individuals' personal data. I now become responsible for this contact list with everybody's email on one list. So I need to responsibly handle this and not share it to my Facebook friends or whoever. The moment I click download, I now download all of this data in one consolidated spreadsheet. Okay, this is the stats export specifically. The next system enhancement is a wider export function. Let's go take a look. I'm going back to my home screen and let's look at the left menu again. You'll see next to the stats option, there's an export data button. If I click on this, it once again gives me the option to export, but the detail gets more intricate. It's not just the standard stats of who completed when, it's a lot of different options according to my needs. Once again, it's guiding me to say I'm currently on my company level, so I'm going to be exporting the stats for this specific area. Obviously, you can request this per sub-entity as well. I have two options here at the top, a Shadowmatch data option or a PDP one. Let's do the Shadowmatch data option first. Once again, I can choose the data period to customize according to my needs. And here I now can choose what are the files that should be included in this export. I want to highlight a few options here, ladies and gentlemen. Think about how this can help you in planning for your training or submitting a proposal to business. If you, for instance, include the recommended PDP for each individual in this file. So if I need to plan my training for the year and I already have in one document each individual's recommended PDP at one place, it makes my job so much easier. Or I can include the benchmark match to see how does each individual compare to the benchmark in that specific file, and I have it in one consolidated file in my export. The moment I click download, I once again receive that spreadsheet. Okay, this was now the overall system Shadowmatch data export. Our other option was that PDP export. Let's just open up our export again. I choose this by selecting from the drop-down list the PDP progress. Now we're very excited about this. This is a great new function because what it does is it gives you the opportunity to have a consolidated live tracking of the entire PDP picture within a business. If the word PDP is not familiar to you, what it refers to is the personal development programs on the Shadowmatch system. They're programs that help the individual to develop specific habits, resilience for instance, and they work through the program with accompaniment from a mentor. Now, please join us on the 9th of September for a webinar specifically about employee support and development if you want to hear more about the PDPs. For today's session, let's just look at the export. Okay, back to our screen. We have chosen the PDP progress as the export type. Once again, we can customize the data period. Now my fields have different options. So all of the detail around who is doing a PDP, who is the mentor, in which phase, where are they, when was it requested, I can now include in this. For instance, here we have our active phase, the mentor's first name, last name, etc. The moment I click download, once again, I receive that export. As I said, I'm going to urge you to test out these great new system enhancements. Go into the system, go and see your own stats usage live for the COVID months, the past few months, or go and request the export and see what can you include in your planning for your training once you see what is in that export. Okay, great. That now brings us to our next area, which is then the practical system tips. The first one I want to focus on is the basket for marked individuals. For this, I'm going to go into a specific file. Let's go into finance again, and let's say finance managers. Once I view my individuals and I see the names on my screen, I can select them. The moment I select the individual, take a look at what happens. Do you see this box popping up on my screen? It now generates a little basket of all of the individuals I have marked. Now I can perform specific actions with these individuals, but they don't all have to be in the same file. So let's say I want to create a team that's across the entire entity, a project team with some people from finance, some from sales, some from operations. Then I can perform this action with one click. I don't need to click and add and click and add. So let's just for now mark these two individuals, and then we go to, let's say, customer service, and we go and select a few more individuals. Now, if I want to hide this, if it's bothering me that it's on my screen, I simply click the minimize button, and you see what happened? It jumped here to the left of my menu, but my individuals are still marked. They're still in my basket there. Let's go and grab a few more. Let's say Gillian and Gretchen and Jennifer. Now they're added to my list. The moment I have all of the individuals I want to do whatever with, I can now click on this option here. There's a little menu icon there, and it's going to give you the list of actions I can perform with these individuals. Let's say I want to move them all to another file. So they were in the wrong file. They don't need to be in customer support and finance. They now need to be in ops. I click on the move option and I move them to the file. Or I can download with one click all of their full reports to in one click, or email it directly to them. Let's choose the download option. And now you'll see it's going to download it once again to my screen. With one click, all 5 of these individuals, I have their graphs. I don't have to click individually. Let's do one action. Let's say I want to create a team. I click this option here. And now I can put all 5 of those individuals from across my entity into one team. Let's call it our webinar team. Perfect. And create. Now the system has compiled these results, and the moment I'm happy that I've concluded what I needed to do with my marked individuals, I click on my menu option and say, thank you system, I'm done. I don't need them anymore. And now I've created my webinar team with the individuals from across the entity. Our next practical system tip is the start of it all. It's how do I get someone's Shadowmatch results on the system? You as system administrator can send an invitation to anybody, and once they receive that invitation, they then get access to the Shadowmatch worksheet to complete the questions, and the data populates on your side on the system. Let's go and see what are our different options. Let's go to financial accountants this time. You'll see I have this option in either the first 4 main options on my screen. The third one here says send invites, or I can access it from my left main menu here. It takes me to the exact same screen. Let's use this option. On the screen, I now have a few options. The top one here, these 2, send email invitations, is the correct option for the new system. What happens with this is it sends that unique link directly into an individual's inbox, and everything happens automated. So no manual interference needed. It happens, they click on the link, and voila, they access the worksheet. Let's say I want to invite a few individuals. Then I choose the first options, send invites to individuals. I click on my button and the screen opens. Let's say we're sending it to John. Now I complete John's details. And now the screen is asking me to select the type. Let's look at this drop-down list. This will help me to file this individual's result within the correct type on the system. So is John someone applying for a position within the company, so currently not employed yet by our company? Or is John already an employee, so should I be marking him as an employee of our company? Or is John one of the individuals that are top performing in a specific role? We'll discuss the benchmarks in a different webinar, but for today, just know this is where you select the type. And this saves you admin afterwards to have to go and move it around. Rather choose the option day 1, and then they populate in the correct file. So let's say, great, John is an employee. We mark him as employee. And notice this option here on the right. It's automatically ticked that you as system administrator will be notified when he completes the worksheet. So you don't need to log in and go and see where he is. You will automatically be notified if you want to be notified. If we want to send it to more than one individual, we simply click on this plus icon and we add the details. At the bottom, I have the option to send an additional message. I'll show you now what the standard email is. But this is where if I, for instance, want to remind him of the deadline, to say, please complete by 31 August. I can include this here and it will automatically populate on the email he receives. Let's quickly look at what the email actually looks like. Okay. I'm now showing you what the worksheet invitation email looks like that the individual receives on the other end. At the top, there's the additional message. So you'll see it's addressed to the individual, the details you completed, and here's the message I added. Please complete by the 31st of August. And if I scroll down, it automatically gives them all the information they need, as well as a very nice 1-minute video explaining exactly why should I complete this worksheet. If I've never heard of Shadowmatch before and someone sends me this invitation, this 1-minute video will explain what is the value to me as individual to complete this worksheet. So in other words, you don't have to worry that in that additional message, you need to explain the entire process. What does the worksheet measure? What is it about? And this is already automatically in the email. You can use that additional message if you have specific actions like this to communicate that deadline. Let's go back to our system. If I now click on submit, let's just take away our file. We say, we're happy, this is what we want to send to John. I click on submit, and now on the system, I can exactly see to which email address was this worksheet sent, when was it sent, and what are the details. If I now want to remind him later on, I can select, and now I have the option to either remove that invitation, it's no longer applicable, John doesn't need to complete the worksheet, or send him a reminder if he hasn't completed it by that 31st August deadline that we sent through. Now that's a very nice option if we're looking at small numbers. But the moment you start sending to more individuals, you don't want to be typing. So that's why there's the very nice bulk send option here to the right. If we open up this screen, you see I have two options. I can either directly upload a file or open up the spreadsheet viewer. Let's look at the spreadsheet viewer first. So now it's asking me to copy and paste data directly into the spreadsheet. Let's see what happens. Let me open up my spreadsheet. In my spreadsheet, I have the data, the name, the surname, and the email of my employees or the applicants I am inviting to complete the worksheet. So what I do is I simply select and copy from within my spreadsheet, and then in the system, I right-click here and paste. The moment I paste, this data is automatically imported into the spreadsheet viewer. Now, all the system wants to know is which one of these files is the email file. To who should I send it? To Annie or to annie@gmail.com? So all you need to then select is tell the system, I've put the emails in column C. I've put the first names in column A and the last names in column B. Okay. On this screen, we have the exact same options as our individual invites. We can either choose are they applicants, employees, or benchmark individuals, and tick or unselect the notify me option, as well as the additional message here at the bottom. Just a quick note on the email. In the new system, the email is the unique identifier. If you use that option and you send it to an individual's own email address, they get the optimal value. They then get access to their personal portal when they can view their own results, and everything will happen smoothly. If you request PDPs later on, the whole process happens smoothly. So please refrain from using the option where you send it to one consolidated email, info@shadowmatch.co.za, and all of the Shadowmatch employees has that one email. Please respect the individual enough to give them access to that personal portal. The only thing you need to do is complete their own email address, and then you don't have to worry about the rest. Let's send these invitations. Maybe I shouldn't. I think these emails, there might be people that actually have that email address. So I'm rather going to say close, unless a poor Annie somewhere receives an invitation from Shadowmatch. Okay. So that's the two options of sending it directly to someone's email address. At the bottom, there's an option only to use in very exceptional cases where the individual physically does not have an email account. If it is at all possible to create an email account, rather go that route. That's then the perfect opportunity to say, great, let's help this individual sort it out, get that email account activated. It takes 2 minutes to create a Gmail account for an individual. So if that's possible, go that route. If it's not possible, so the individuals or the applicants do not have access to an email account, these bottom options gives you a solution to generate a list of codes. So if I choose this one, it downloads a list of codes, or I can email it to me directly to say, give me 20 codes. I'm going to be working with 20 individuals tomorrow. None of them have email addresses, but I want their results to automatically populate in the correct file. The codes I download, then they complete it on their side when they log in, and it pulls through to the system to the correct file. But as we said, this is not the optimal option, because now your individuals are missing out on all of the automated reports they'll receive and their personal portal. And if they want to access their personal portal, they have to complete a whole other step with other personal data. Great. But the options are there if it's needed, but as we said, rather use the top ones. Okay, that's our worksheet invitations. The last thing I want to show you with the practical system tips is the various search options. So I'm first going to click back to my main company screen. The first search option we're looking at is this one here at the top. If I search here, I do a structural search of the files on the system. And a very neat trick is if you're not clicked on the system and you start typing, it automatically goes to that function. So let's say I quickly want to navigate to research and development. I start typing RE, and now the system picks up, okay, I'm on the screen, where should I take you? If the top file is the file that I want to go to, let's say research and development, and I click on enter, it automatically goes there. So I'm just clicking on enter, and now I'm within research and development. Let's say I want to navigate to a sub-entity. So it's not one of my first entities here. It's controllers that we created within. Let's start typing controllers. Now the system sees, okay, whoa. It's not on my first level, but I can see something within is related to what I'm searching for. I click on search more results, and now it gives me all of the options here to say, okay, what are you searching for? Let's give it some more information. Let's say like this. Now I have all of our specific controller roles, and if I click on this, I then navigate to that file. Okay, so let's click back. In a nutshell, this is my structural search to quickly navigate to a file. If you can't remember where the other system administrator created depth controllers, you search for depth, and there we go. It takes you directly to that. The second search option is if we're searching for individuals on the system. So I don't care if it's in finance, in credit controllers, I'm looking for John. Where on earth is John? Now I use the left menu here, my main options. You'll see there's an option here, search individuals. I select, and now the system just wants something to work with. So let's give the system something. I'm going to put in the name Terry. Let's see, who do we find? Okay, great. Here we find, this is Terry. His result is in internal auditors. If Terry was copied into different files, we would have seen it here to say he's in internal auditors as well as in sales, as well as in finance managers. But in this case, Terry is just in this file. If I now click on this, it takes me to Terry's result in his specific file. I can use any data as the starting point. In Terry's case, I used his first name, Terry. I could have used his surname, his email address, any of that data. The system will search, where do I see this, and give me the feedback of that. Okay, this brings us to the last search option, which is the most specific option. Let's just deselect Terry, and let's work in this file, our internal auditors. If I now see on this screen, you'll see there are many individuals in the file. So I'm just going to select it here that we all see them on the same screen. If I don't want to be scrolling through and say, okay, where on earth is Terry's result? Okay, it's just 27 individuals in this case, but some files get quite comprehensive if we're looking in, working in bigger structures. I have an option here at the left, specific to the individuals in this file. I can now search. So on my left screen, I have the option internal auditors individuals, and here's the list. This search option, we're going to be looking at that. I click search. Let's find Terry again. Take a quick look at what happens. My system automatically filters. It knows I'm looking in this specific file for something very specific, and it gives me the specific result. let's say I'm looking for somebody named Brad. I started typing Brad, and you see the result of the search is anything related to Brad. So Gary Bradshaw is also in that search. Obviously, if I started typing Brad's surname, I would be zoning into that specific individual. Use the search options as they work for you. You don't have to use a specific one in a specific scenario. Just know that the system supports you to say, what do you want and how do we find it quickly? If you want an individual and you don't know where they are on the system, search them from here. If you want the individual in a specific file, search from here. If you want to find the structure, search that structural search. The last thing I just want to show you with the search is be aware that the system is picking up where are you searching from. So let's just say new search. If I am working in internal auditors and I now go to search individuals, look what the system says. It's telling me I'm searching individuals in internal auditors because you already filtered down to the subfile. If I don't want to do this, I don't want to search in internal auditors. I actually want to search the entire company. If I go to the main screen and now select search, look what happens here at the right. Search individuals in company ABC. Okay, so another thing to remember from the system, more often than not, it helps to read. If you haven't ever read the heading here of the search, you'll be surprised to find, oh, the system was actually very intuitive, and I might be working in internal auditors and someone is in sales, and then I say, but why is it not finding that individual? Meanwhile, I've already asked the system to filter down to that specific file. The system gives you each option, you choose which one to use the best. Okay, great. Just as a last comment from my side on the practical system tips, it's like swimming. Jump into the swimming pool and start swimming, and then you'll get better at swimming. So the system in itself, you can't break it. There's nothing you can click and then something starts exploding and we get a notification that you are a horrible system user. That never happens. So start getting comfortable to say, let's click on a button and see what happens. You might find a very nice function you never knew about. I'm curious to know how many individuals have actually clicked on this organogram function before, or is it something that you don't see because you're just focusing on the specific file? So in these webinars, we'll be taking it step by step to start talking about specific functions and unpacking them, that we help you to get to them quicker and you don't have to search around. Okay, great. Thanks, Lizette. That's all from my side for the first session. Over to you to hear if there are any specific questions.
Thank you very much, Suzanne. That was very informative and a very good walkthrough. There are some comments, good communicator. Thank you, very insightful, so well done. Ladies and gentlemen, before I allow you for some questions, I see we've got about 20 minutes to go and we don't have to spend the entire hour, but I'm sure you've booked out the hour in your diary so we can use it optimally. If you have questions about certain of these system functionalities that Suzanne demonstrated, please feel free to contact your Shadowmatch consultant. If you're not sure who that is, you can just notify us by emailing info@shadowmatch.co.za and we can put you in contact with your consultant, and we will also be more than happy to help. Then I just want, before I pose the question, Suzanne, ladies and gentlemen, there were some questions in the chat about benchmarking and matching. Please know that this is really just to showcase some of the newest add-ons to the system. Those of you that come with Shadowmatch for a long time know that the stats was part of the old Shadowmatch system, and it's something that we added now and we optimized the stats. So the next sessions on the 2nd of September, the entire session will be focused on benchmarking, recruitment, optimal placement, succession planning. So we've got an entire session next week dedicated just to that. And then the next one, as Suzanne said, on the 9th of September will be for employee support and development. On the 16th of September, we will focus on the team functionality and how you can use that in your business and your consulting. And then on the 30th of September, it will be all about personal well-being, the personal portal, and what is available to the individual using Shadowmatch. So I'm just positioning that so that when we do open for questions, that you know that that's all coming. It's not like we don't want to deal with that, but that's all in future sessions. We will be recording all of these sessions, as I said, And the events will be on the shadowmatch.co.za page tomorrow, where you can then click on the link to book your seat for these various sessions. Suzanne, the questions that came up, I'm quickly just going to allow everybody to unmute themselves, and then I'll post the questions that I've got on my side. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are battling to unmute yourself, we do from time to time see that it doesn't allow you to, then you can just post in the chat and I will then unmute you from my side. I have allowed you now, so you should be able to unmute yourselves. But before you go ahead with questions, Suzanne, I'm going to ask, there was a question from Carla just to know about when the email, the worksheet email you sent, when that comes into your inbox, what does it show? It shows that it comes from Shadowmatch. Maybe you just want to share your screen and show how did that email come into your inbox, just so that we know when we have to advise clients.
Perfect. Let me start sharing my screen again. So this email I have in my file, I sent it to myself from the system yesterday. So it came in with the topic Shadowmatch worksheet request, and it came from the system email. So from Shadowmatch, it was directed to my personal email, the one I completed in that file. And then if I scroll down, you'll see it tells me this is a system generated email. If you have any specific questions, it refers you back to the system administrator. So now, okay, I'm the same person now, but it's telling me you as the recipient of the worksheet invitation, if you have any other specific queries, please contact the person that invited you, and the system automatically puts the email address of that system administrator that the query goes directly to that individual.
Suzanne, I will mute. Let me just see who that is to try and mute the person. I think I've muted. Yeah, you can go ahead. Sorry, Suzanne.
Okay, great. Carla, does that answer your question to see it is a system generated email, but the topic says a Shadowmatch worksheet invitation, but it will always put in the administrator's details to refer the individual back to say, okay, who invited me to do this? It's not a system, it was an individual on a system, and it will tell the individual who that individual was.
Yep. Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Suzanne. Thanks, Carla. Suzanne, there was just one more question that was in the chat, and then we will allow people to ask questions live if they want to. The question was about the downloaded reports. When you did the bulk download for the reports, I think it was also from Carla. Maybe just to inform everybody, Carla, when you download those reports, it's the full Shadowmatch report that the individual anyway receives when they complete the Shadowmatch worksheet. That functionality allows you to do a bulk download. So instead of going into a result, download the report, close it, go into the next result, download the report. You can select everybody, put them in your basket under those marked individuals. And if you then choose the option download full report, it downloads all those Shadowmatch reports for that individual, and you can then do a bulk send from there. So that's the report that gets downloaded. I don't know if it's still open on your system, Suzanne, maybe you just want to open and show. Thanks.
Yeah, I get that. What I was asking about was, I think, I mean, I'm just starting out with Shadowmatch, as you know. So like the PDP progress reports, like, I don't even know what that looks like, you know, so that's really what I meant by that question. I'm sorry, I wasn't clear, but that's what I was kind of looking like, what do these reports actually show you and things like that. Like I haven't, and that's why I'm kind of excited to attend the webinar that's coming up on that. So maybe that question will be answered at that time, in which case I'll just hold the question.
Perfect. Yeah, Carla, just from my side for today, what it generates is a spreadsheet format with all of those specific files. So it's going to give you each file you selected to say the mentee's name is active phase, who is the mentor, when was it requested, in that consolidated spreadsheet format. But okay, yeah, let's address that in that specific webinar, because then I'll prepare the spreadsheet that you can see sensical data in it. Today's one isn't going to be a good reflection because it was fictitious data. But then we can use live PDPs to say, how does that spreadsheet work? But the purpose of that download is to have a once-off quick overview of the entire PDP process within that company. So if I need to give feedback of what is the process of our development plan, I can say I have 50 individuals currently embarking on the PDPs. 2 of them have completed, 5 of them are here, and all of the specific detail, and I have it in one spreadsheet instead of having to go to each individual and see how far is John with his PDP, how far is Lizette with her PDP. I can generate that for the specific file I need. Is it company-wide, or am I looking in sales and I just want to see what's cooking in sales with development, who's on a PDP, and who is the mentor, who should I be following up with?
Okay, yeah. Thank you for that. Just one more question on the PDP. I've never actually seen what one looks like. Like, are you going to be showing like, okay, you fill out that first page, mentor, blah, 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 but then what happens? Like just an example of a program and what they would experience. Are we going to see that?
Yes, Carla,
okay,
we can definitely share that, but I actually have good news for you that you can go and view that before the next webinar. I'm just quickly moving on my screen to the correct screen, then I'll share. But on the information website, so what we've been working on today was the live system engine, shadowmatch.co.za, that opens up that interface. We actually have an information website as well. On this information website, there are examples of all of the various reports, including a PDP. But just keep in mind with the PDPs, there are 2 options. So the best option is the virtual PDP, where it's facilitated on an individual's personal portal. So I have access, I open up the first phase, complete the phase, and I notify my mentor, and it's all facilitated via email, and I can access it on my personal portal, either on my mobile phone or on a computer. If I don't have access to a virtual device, there is an option to do a paper-based PDP, and that's the example that is on the .com website. But then you can see what is the information and the content of that report. I'm just quickly going to share my screen again. And now I'm on the information website on .com. If I go to the top tab here, Shadowmatch, then one of my options is the reports. If I click on reports, it opens up the page with the various examples. So everything from a personal report to the PDPs, and here's the PDP example. So if you click on this icon, it's going to download it, and you can view the detail of what does the program actually entail, keeping in mind that this is the paper-based format, and this will all be facilitated live in a virtual package if we request it on the system as screen-based.
Okay. Thank you. I'll take a look at that. Thank you.
Thanks, Carla. Thanks, Suzanne. Suzanne, there are no other questions that were posted in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, I know most of the videos are off, but those of you that want to, by the show of a hand or just unmuting yourself, you're welcome to ask questions. I think for the purpose of the recording, Suzanne, I'm going to just say thank you very much for a very informative session. We got very positive comments. And ladies and gentlemen, as I said, please watch this space every Wednesday. We want to try and really take a walk through the system in all its finest detail to allow you and to enable you to really use the system optimally in your business and with your clients. So thank you very much for joining. You don't have to run. I just want to end the recording, and then you are welcome to stay on and participate in a live question and answer session. Thank you very much.